This is Walking with Jesus, a devotional journey through books of the Bible brought to you by Forest Hill Presbyterian Church. I'm Pastor Jason Van Bemmel. This is day 31 of our journey through the book of Hebrews, and we are in the middle of chapter 9 still. Chapter 9 is just a deeply rich chapter of the Bible that rewards digging deeply and considering different questions and angles. And so today we're going to be looking at verses 18 to 26 and asking the question, why is the Bible so bloody? So listen to Hebrews 9, verses 18 through 26, and you'll definitely hear lots of language of blood. Therefore, not even the first covenant was inaugurated without blood. For when every commandment of the law had been declared by Moses to all the people, he took the blood of calves and goats with water and scarlet wool and hyssop and sprinkled both the book itself and the people, saying, "This is the blood of the covenant that God commanded for you." And in the same way, he sprinkled with the blood both the tent and all the vessels used in worship. Indeed, under the law, almost everything is purified with blood, and without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins. Thus, it was necessary for the copies of the heavenly things to be purified with these rites, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. For Christ has entered not into holy places made with hands, which are copies of the true things, but into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of God on our behalf. Nor was it to offer himself repeatedly, as the high priest enters the high places every year with blood not his own, for then he would have had to suffer repeatedly since the foundation of the world. But as it is, he has appeared once for all at the end of the ages to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. That's Hebrews 9, 18 through 26 in the English Standard Version. Well, I once knew a man who wanted to be a doctor, but he couldn't stand the sight of blood. It reminds me of the TV character Monk. Our family's watching old episodes of Monk, a TV show featuring a detective with OCD and an anxiety disorder. He's the most brilliant detective, but he's a germaphobe and can't stand getting dirty or having too much close contact with people. Many people are offended by the Bible for different reasons. I used to think it was my responsibility to clear up any and all offense people might feel over the Bible to get them to love it as much as I do. And while I still want to clear up confusion and misunderstanding, I've come to see that many people don't like the Bible because they don't like God. And often they resent God because God is God, and that's a job they would rather take for themselves. Now, one common problem lots of people do have with the Bible is all the blood, right? The Old Testament has all these sacrifices of blood, and the New Testament writers focus a lot of attention on the blood of Jesus. And so some people really want to know, why is the Bible so bloody? Well, the answer goes all the way back to the opening chapters of the Bible. In the first days of humanity's presence on earth, God told Adam not to eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for in the day that he ate of it, he would surely die. Now, by choosing to sin, Adam chose the death penalty for himself. As Romans 6:23 would later say, the wages of sin is death. The Bible also says the life of the flesh is in the blood. That's in Leviticus 17:11. That is, God's way of carrying life to our bodies is through blood. And so blood comes to symbolize or represent the essence of life. The only way to make atonement for sin in the Bible is by the shedding of blood, which covers our sin and satisfies God's justice. As Hebrews 9:11 says, without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins. The bloodshed of animals, though, never actually removed anyone's sin. It couldn't. Animals can't pay for people's sin. However, the regularly repeated bloodshed was a constant reminder of the people's need for forgiveness, of the need for atonement. The price for sin must be paid because God's justice must be satisfied and we must be cleansed. Thankfully, the requirement for bloodshed comes to an end at the cross. There, Jesus died once for all, the just for the unjust, to bring us to God. His sacrifice was final, perfect, sufficient, and satisfactory, and so he died only once. He died once, and he lives now forever, securing the salvation of his people with his shed blood and his glorious resurrection life.